Welcome to the release room. This is Glenn Pridgeon, and I'll be flying solo today. Probably be doing this format quite a bit more here on into the future. So what I thought I'd do today was give you a friendly neighborhood public service announcement, a PSA on the perils of online dating, specifically Tinder. So just for some background, I was on Tinder several years ago and met a wonderful girl on there. We had a 2-year relationship, and that ended last January. I gave it about 6 months. So last summer, I started dating again. And my first Tinder experience was I went on a Tinder date with a man. I accidentally Tinder dated a man. It's a long story, not of my making, but I covered that in a blog post called Glenn Accidentally Tinder Dates a Man. You can look that up if you want to hear that story. Then a couple of benign dates, and then Darlene. I matched up with Darlene, and that's not her real name, so I'll be protecting the innocent. Not the innocent, but I'll be at least protecting Darlene's real name. So meet Darlene. She's 5'10". I'm 5'5", so pretty rare that you would match with someone like that. So we get to talking, chatting and texting, and we have a phone call. And I got to have a phone call with you before I go on a date with you because, I don't like negative people. There's certain accents that I can't handle. And so she qualified. Everything was great. She had 2 kids, grown kids in college. She's got a job. She's a successful person, so it seems at this point. And 2 things, I had to qualify the 5'10", which she was cool with, which makes her one of maybe 2 people on the internet or on online dating sites that are cool with being taller. And my ex-wife was tall and beautiful, so it's not something that I'm not used to. But 5'10", she was 5'10". She may be a little taller than the ex. And the other thing was there was 2 things that we talked about. The first one was she had on her profile, if all you're interested in is a hookup, swipe left. And my experience when I first got on Tinder was that was actually a dog whistle for, hey, I want to hook up. Because most of the girls that had that on there were very insistent on hooking up, very aggressive. And so I kind of, I asked her, what are you looking for on here? And, hookup is the furthest thing from my mind. It is not on the cards. It is not on the table. No, which is cool. I'm more aligned with that these days, with taking my time. And then the other thing, I just kind of casually joked because those stories I've heard on Tinder are you show up and someone's hammered already. And I kind of joked. I said, hey, I come with a guarantee that when we show up for dinner that I won't be at the bar drinking for 2 hours. And we laugh and blah, 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 blah. That's funny. Her car is going in the shop, so she asked if I'd pick her up. And I said, yeah. And she lives about 7 exits away from me on 400. And so I agreed to pick her up. It's about 22 miles out of my way at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night. And so what I thought I'd do is I thought I'd tell this story. And along with the story, I the next day had texted Erica, my oldest daughter, had texted me and asked if I would, or how's life, and I let her know I had a killer Tinder story, and she was all over it. So, but I go up there to pick her up, and I drive up, get off at exit, and I'm texting her the whole way, hey, what's your address? Hey, what's your address? Are we still on tonight? What's happening? And I had texted her earlier, and she said we're still on, and I had asked for her address, and she finally calls me as I'm getting off at her exit, 22 miles away in traffic, and says, hey, I'm already at the restaurant. You can just meet me here. Okay, that's my red flag number 1. And I'm like, well, I'm at your exit. Like, I'm 45 minutes to an hour away from you. She's like, all right, that's okay. I'll wait. I'm at the bar. I'm thinking, didn't we talk about this? So, I get back on the interstate, headed back. I got about 25-mile drive in traffic. It takes me about an hour So as I'm driving past my exit, I had the overwhelming urge to get off the exit and cancel this thing and back out, which is exactly what I should have done in hindsight. But about 20 minutes out, I start getting hammered with texts. Where are you? Where are you? I can't believe you're this late. It's rude. It was just bizarre. It's getting really weird. So I park and I run in, and she's at the bar. And when I walk in, she stands up very impatiently and stumbles around, and I'm thinking, she's hammered. All right, so this is where we'll pick it up with Erica. And the greatest thing about this are her reactions are just fantastic. So not only am I using this as an outline, now there's a lot more detail that I'll get into than I could thumb type and text to Erica. So I'll fill in kind of the blanks as we go through. All right, so I say to Erica, hey, she's like, how's life? And I'm like, hey, I went on the absolute worst Tinder date. Oh my God, yes. What happened? When I showed up, she was at the bar. She had been there for an hour and a half, and she was lit AF, no doubt. So we get a table. We walk over to the table. She sits down and starts making faces at the two ladies next to us. And she's just, giving them the business and staring at them. And I couldn't, I'm finally like, what the hell is wrong with you? Stop it. Like, what? And she's, they obviously are better than everyone else. Like, they hadn't looked at us. They hadn't done anything to warrant any attention whatsoever, much less the aggression that she was showing on him. So I finally got her to stop, and so she orders, along with dinner, 2 glasses of wine and asks that they be brought at the same time. She slams one, sets it down, and while the bartender's there, and she sips the other one. And when the bartender brings us the wine, he gives her the tab for her time at the bar, which she slides over to me and says, oh, he'll get that. Least he can do for being so late. And it was like $100 tab. One person. All right, $5.10, I guess she can handle her liquor or not, based on how she was acting. So, all right. So there's an acoustic guitar player that started playing while we were eating, and she has on a sundress. So, here, strapless sundress, and she gets up, and after dinner, and I ask for the check, she gets up and wants to dance. I think she can tell I'm ready to end this thing as quick as possible. To which I'm not going to dance. Wholly inappropriate, first off, in this closed-in area. And first she's stumbling around. Second, we're in this small, closed quarters. People are starting to look. And now they want to know, all right, who's going to win this battle of who's going to dance and who's not going to dance. And I'm like, I'm not dancing. So she stands there and gives me this incredulous look. And she pulls her top down and gives me a quick flash and says, she gives me the quick flash, and like 10 other people see it. I am totally ready to go at this point. And let's see, get that out of the way. All right, so Erica says no. And then she said, this is what you're missing. So I told her it was time to go, and I would call her an Uber because I didn't want her to drive. Now, I didn't have enough time. I couldn't include all details. So one of the things I'll fill in is we did call an Uber, and the Uber did get there, and she stumbled around and fell into his car, at which point he said he canceled the trip and said, no, she's way too drunk for me to take her home. So Uber's out of the question. So I reluctantly agree to drive her home. As we're walking to my car, she ditches into another bar. And I'm standing there. Now I've got her keys because I've taken her keys away from her. Otherwise, I was ready to just run to my car and get away from her. But I have her keys. So I'll walk in, and she's now kind of a little bit more together. And orders a shot, drinks the shot. The bartender looks at me. Now, the weird thing is the bartender looked at me, and he didn't give me a look like, hey, dude, what's going on here? He gave me a look like, oh, you're it tonight. So it was obvious this wasn't the first time he'd seen a guy in my position. in my situation. So I just shake my head at him, and he shakes his head back at me, and I get her out, and I say, all right, I'm going to take you home. Give me your address. To which she's says, I'll just show you how to get there. And all right, so after a few miles of driving, she removes her dress. So what she did is she pulled her top down and her bottoms up. Now she's totally, no underwear in sight. So she's totally exposed, and she puts her feet up on the dash, and she passes out. And then she wakes up at one point, and she wants to stand up and get out of my sunroof. Now, at this point, I'm not on the interstate yet, thank God. And I'm like, no. And I'm fighting her, and she's trying to stand up and figure out how to open the sunroof. And I pull her back down. No, and she tries to make me wreck. She grabs the wheel and turns the wheel. So I fight to get back control of the car. I pull over the side of the road, and I try to make her get out. Now she starts crying, and then she lays her head back, and she passes out. Erica says, still naked? Yep. I didn't have her address. She was 20 miles away from her address. So here's what actually happens. I'm driving to get to her place, and I'm asking her address, and she's like, I don't want to give you my address. Now I'm back at exit 16 for the second time today. And she says, pull over at a gas station, and I'm going to call an Uber. I can get an Uber now. It's not that far. I'm like, okay. And she's looking around, and she freaks out. She left her phone in the second bar that we went into. Left her phone there. Now, I can't leave her at the gas station. At this point, I'm through. And, you know, I just want to make sure she gets home safe. So we get back in the car, and we turn around and head back. And so Erica says, oh, my God, this is horrifying. All right, so I decided at this point I would just leave her in my garage. But I was almost to my house. She wakes up, asks, what the F is she doing naked? And then she squatted in my passenger seat and asked me to look at it. She's talking about her state of Virginia. I can't believe I said it like that. So I did. I was like, okay, all right, I looked. Now, let's move on. So then she starts crying and pulled her dress back up and put it back down. She said she would, so this is when she said she'd call the Uber, and she had left her phone at the bar. So, yup, I turn around. Erica, what the actual? So I turned around. I had to drive. It was really more like 20 miles back to the bar, and she stayed in the car. And I tried to call her an Uber, and she cried and passed out. I went in and got the phone back. Now she's passed out again. Now, we're only halfway through the story. I kid you not. This thing goes on forever. All right, so I can't wake her up. And I'm sitting there in front of this bar. I've got her phone back. I can't wake her up. I'm out of gas. And I'm just going to go with my original plan. I'm going to leave her in the car in my garage. And when I wake up in the morning, I'll just take her home. All right, so I can't wake her up. I'm out of gas, so I decided I'd go to the earlier plan of locking her in my garage. But after 70 miles of driving, my tank is empty. So I go to the gas station and gas up. I get me a Diet Dr. Pepper and Doritos and get back in the car. And Biatch is completely naked and hungry, so she's pulled her dress off down again. Erica, ooh, this is good. What? Okay, so she's hungry. She takes my Diet Dr. Pepper. That's a big no-no right there. And then while I'm driving, she actually takes the Doritos from me, and she's eating them. She takes the bag, and she smashes it, and then she throws it all over the car. And I have this brand-new car, and I am just furious. And then she's demanding to go to Waffle House. No, that's not happening. And she passes out and has some weird mini seizure in the seat. And I'm like, I take her to the hospital? What do I do? All right, so I'm just deciding at this point, holy crap, holy shit. All right, so I get home. I get to my place, and it's too hot for the garage. I've got an open bed, so I put her in my daughter's bed. Now, she's 5'10", so getting her to the room was like I had to carry dead weight all the way to the bedroom. And I get her in the bed, and as I go back, I'm brushing my teeth. I hear her in the living room. And when I enter the room, now she's got her dress totally off, and she's drinking wine that someone had bought me at a party before that. Erica, oh my God. I decided to let her drink the whole bottle so she actually pass out. Oh, by the way, it's only 10:30 at this point. She begs me to have sex with her, which is true. And then she started crying. And then she gets dressed and wants to watch TV. We could cycle through this behavior for the next 4 hours of her passing out, her waking up, her crying, her wanting to get it on. Then she finally passes out completely naked in my living room floor. So I'm thinking she'll wake up sober and freak out. So I put boxer shorts and a T-shirt on her. And she wakes up enough to help a little bit and throw a blanket over her. All right. Yeah, so she's able to give me a little assist with the clothes. So it wasn't completely weird. It was completely weird. That is not a factual statement. Actually, it's nothing but weird. That's right, I did get it out. Okay, now we're halfway through the story. Not really, but really. We're kind of halfway through the story. Okay, so she's passed out. I go to bed. I go to sleep. Now, I have meetings in the morning. So this is a nightmare for me. My thought is I'll just get her an Uber and get her home. But I have meetings all morning. I have a very important meeting that takes me through lunch to about 1 o'clock. All right, so I wake her up at 7:30 and try to get her an Uber, and she wants to watch TV while I have my meetings. I'm out of time and spend the next hour in meetings while she walks around my apartment completely sober, begging for wine because now I'm out of wine, and she once again is taking her clothes off. Now she's sober, acting like this. So... Erica, holy mother of God, it's awesome. All right, so at noon, done with my first round of meetings, I demand that she get the F out of my house and threaten to call the police. She gets dressed, starts to cry, and calls a friend who is on the way. Erica, she is not sane. No, she's not. All right, so my next round of meetings start. This was actually, all right, so here's what's happening. This is a meeting, a presentation. So I'm on a call. And I've got my Tinder date is naked walking around my living room. And, so my next round of meetings start, and once again, she is naked, and she's getting a little gross with it. So what she does is she takes care of business on my chair. I'll let you fill in the blanks of that, Erica. Ew. All right, so I finished my last meeting at 2:30. By this time, she is dressed and asked one last time if I wanted to have sex with her, to which I say, excuse me, and I would not like that very much, is exactly what I said. I said I would not like that very much. She said I was kind of cute. So I look at her, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, look, I'll take that. Then she looks at me and gets this shitty look on her face, and she said, I didn't say you were cute, mother effer. I said you were kind of cute. So I'm actually stolen that. I haven't used it yet, but I will. So Erica, she is the most horrifying woman on earth. Then we finally get in my car. It's like 2:30, and we're headed back to the bar so she could start drinking again. Then about a mile away, she called me gay as F for not wanting to have sex with her. I'm done. At this point, I'm done. I haven't really slept. I had one eye open the whole night. So I slammed on my brakes. And I get out of the car, and I actually am pushing her and dragging her out of the car. And as I am getting back in the car and locked my door, she's standing out. She starts crying, and she gives me the bird. She calls me a gay mother effer and started pulling her top down, but she didn't stop. She took her dress all the way off, and is screaming at me as I drive away. And it was the end of the craziest, most bizarre Tinder date. It's the most bizarre story I've ever heard. I mean, no one died. So I guess it could have been worse, but it was frightening. And Erica had it right. She is the most frightening woman on earth. Okay, so Tinder is gone. I'm so done with online dating. She could have murdered you. How old was she? Yes, it was a dangerous situation. I should have left her at the bar. Oh, and get this. I shit you not. As sure as today is Thursday, I swear to you, this is not made up. The first time, this is true, in the car, This is crazy, and I had never heard the song, so I had to go back and listen to the song. The first time that she took her clothes off, the song "Take a Drunk Girl Home" was on the radio, and she was singing it at the top of her lungs and crying, whilst naked and drunk. What a lunatic. So you know the scene from the Grind Game? That's why. That was somewhat what I looked like when this whole thing was done. So that is, I got a text from Darlene later that day asking what I was doing that night, and I blocked her. And I have never seen her again. And every time I go to Roswell, I have this feeling that Darlene's going to pop up. I doubt she would remember me very much. But so, yeah. So what lessons did we learn out of this, kids? Don't Tinder date. I mean, online. How do you meet people? You have to online date. And, I don't know what lesson. There's a few lessons. I think instinct one, when you get the instinct to run, you should just run. I should have pulled off when I realized she's probably at the bar drinking. That was a no-go. When she wanted to fight the girls next to me for no reason, that was I should have paid the bill and walked and left. At that point, though, to be honest, I kind of wanted to see how this was going to play out because it was just it was like watching a train wreck. You can't turn away. But I happened to be on the train while it was wrecking. I think playing the nice guy, the Uber thing didn't work out because she was too drunk. At that point, I guess the question is she my responsibility? Like, if I leave her there drunk and I go home and she's murdered, so I don't know what the right thing to do at that point. I don't know what the right thing to do at that point was. Maybe when she ducked into the bar, I threw her keys and I took off running. Maybe I don't know. I think I did the best that I could with the situation. I think it's very sad for someone to not have a lot of respect for themselves. I think that's sad. It's upsetting. I hope that Darlene gets some help because she's obviously got a problem, and drinking and even sober the next day she was erratic and completely out there. So I don't know, but there you go. That's my Tinder date from hell. I would love to hear in the comments below any great stories that you may have. There's a great subreddit, a Tinder subreddit. It's got just some really great Tinder stuff there. I might go through that at some point. But there you go. If you like the video, hit the like button below on the YouTubes if you're on the YouTubes, and hit it on the face pages. And with that, I'll see you next time. Peace out.